Hi, Glenn.
Hi, Katie.
I'd love to have a conversation today just about change. We've worked together at Rock Harbor now for a couple of years. I've seen you do this really well. So I'd love to just talk through your framework of how to lead change well in an organization.
Well, it's fun working with you, Katie, and I think we've all learned along the way what makes it work well and what makes it not work so well. And I think before you even think about change, you have to take time to listen, to learn the organization, especially if you're coming in from the outside, and build trust. Because if you introduce change before there's trust, you'll actually destabilize the organization. And so you want to bring change at a rate that people can manage. But even then, I found it's really helpful to think about change in 3 dimensions. Phase 1 is discussion. Phase 2 is decision. And then phase 2 is the delivery.
Right. Okay. So discussion looks like what?
In order to make the discussion good, you kind of have to do a little bit of pre-work. You got to identify some of the landmines. So that might mean checking in with the people who are going to be involved in the conversation, take the temperature on how they feel about this subject. And then secondly, you got to choose your words carefully. A lot of times, I can't tell you how many times I've said a word or a phrase thinking I mean this, and somebody else hears it a different way. So terminology is really important. And then finally, you really want to make sure the people involved in the discussion represent the people in your church or your organization. It's so easy for leaders to get in a room where everybody thinks the same way, and then they get kind of blindsided by a response from others because we didn't get the right people in the room.
Okay, so we have trust built. We've done the discussion phase. Now we're going to make the decision. How do you do that well?
I think part of the decision thing is you need almost like surgical clarity, precision on what are we deciding and what are we not deciding. Okay. And so partly you got to locate this on the level of significance. So in a church, is this a doctrinal thing? Is this a conviction, like difference of interpretation? Is this a preference thing? Is this a ministry philosophy thing? What kind of level of change are we talking about? And then with the decision, are we changing this? Are we changing all of these things? Are we changing this forever? Are we changing this for the next 2 years? So as much precision as you can come to with that decision, it's going to be really, really helpful. And again, partly you want the right decision makers in the room. It's really unfortunate that sometimes leaders will make a decision with a rogue group of people, and there's others who have a little bit more organizational or org chart authority, and they go, we weren't in that room. Totally. So you got to have the right decision makers there too.
Totally. Okay, so now that's such a big part of it is making the actual decision. But now a step that I would assume is skipped a lot is actually delivery of this decision. So how do you do that well too?
You're exactly right, Katie. I think we get so fatigued from the discussion and the decision. We're like, great, let's put it in an email or something, But a general rule of thumb for me is the more delicate the decision, the more personal the delivery. So when this thing's going to be delicate, we got to talk about it as personally as we can. And so that oftentimes means defining like a rollout. A rollout plan where we go, here's what we're going to tell staff, then all of our volunteer leaders, and then the entire congregation. So you need a rollout plan that's personal. And then you need space to kind of absorb some of the tension from that. So if it's a slightly contentious decision, which generally people don't like change, and that's okay, we understand that. So give them a space to be able to find their voice in this. Could be a town hall, could be here's my email, or could be I'll be standing right here, come talk to me. Any opportunity for people to make this more than an announcement, but actually make this a holy moment.
Totally. That's amazing. All right. So any other hot tips or anything for leaders that are going through or about to make a big change? Any tips you'd give to them?
I mean, to go back to where we started, make sure you're building that trust, lead with transparency, and then be super intentional about all 3 phases: discussion, decision, delivery.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you so much, Glenn. I think this was amazing framework for leaders to walk through, and I think it's going to be a gift to a lot of people.
Thanks, Katie.
Yeah.